Hello there, welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for being with me today. Excuse me, I do appreciate you spending a bit of your time with me. Hopefully you're well and ready for Planet Zoo and our town project. Here we are. I'm stood right in the middle of our little roundabout here at the moment, and there's a reason for that. Because today's project is just off to the left hand side here, and I don't want to show you it until I'm ready. So this is what we did in our last episode, which was this supermarket over here, which I think turned out pretty well. It's got a nice little backstage bit as well. So I was very happy with that. And today's project is around the corner here. So let me turn to the left because it's already there to a degree. Here we go. So this is what I wanted to do next. I wanted to fill in this area over here. And I had this idea of doing a corner office building. And it turned out a lot trickier than I thought. Because obviously it had to be multiple buildings because of the angles that all these things were at. So there's at least sort of 4 different buildings, because then I do obviously a back side here as well. So basically what I had to use these corner pieces at the end, because that was sort of custom made shape for what I wanted. And I wanted it to look like a modern office building. So this is what I came up with for the basic design of the walls and the windows. So let me just go into here. I'll show you what pieces I've used here, because there's a few. You've got the New World windows. So those are actually a bit larger than you can see here. You can see they're quite big windows. But I didn't like them like that. I wanted them to look a bit modern and fancy. So these were perfect. These are New World shop fascias. And I've just stacked them up in front of the windows. And I think it has a really nice effect. It looks like these are shutters almost. Like maybe they could actually close down and cover up the windows. But even if they don't look like that, I just think they look cool as frames for the windows. This is something you see a lot on modern buildings, where they use wooden slats instead of stone or concrete, because wood is cheap for a start, but it also looks good. It looks really sort of modern. It's a very modern aged thing, isn't it, to have wood on a building. So there we go. So that's the sort of the basic design. So then I've copied that over to this side. I do more detailing, obviously. The roof actually turned out to be the trickiest thing to do, just because of the shape of it. So this was my first idea here, which was these the breeze blocks trim pieces, to try and just create a sort of a solid top. They didn't work. They don't last long, because I wanted something that I could manipulate around this corner at the end. And obviously these were too long. They just didn't work. And you'll see later on, when I do have the roof in place and then I leave, I think I have these pieces and I don't then put them around here, it just doesn't quite look right. So yeah, it all had to change. There was a lot of changes in this project as I went along. This piece that's hovering just here, the classic door canopy, I left it there purely because I liked the idea of it. Whether I could use it on the door that I put on the end here or not, I wasn't too sure, but I just left it there just to remind myself of the piece. I do that a lot when I'm building. If I see a piece and I think it's suitable, but I don't necessarily need it straight away, I will often just plonk it down somewhere nearby, just so it reminds me about the piece and I don't forget that I've found it. So there we go. So that is our first stage. This building does change a bit. I think it gets a bit narrower possibly at the back here. I think, no, maybe it doesn't. I can't remember. It's been a little while since I built it. I can't remember how it ends up. But I remember I was very happy with the end result. So let me move on. Let me load up my next save point and we'll see what I did next. Okay, so you can see it's starting to look a bit more like an actual building now. So one idea that I had for this end piece, because obviously I couldn't just leave it as a big flat piece of limestone. That just didn't look right at all. But I love doing this. I've done this before. I think I did this on one of my first buildings. Yeah, this one here, where you have these extra rings around the round walls, and they look really good actually. I really like how that works. You just build them and then you just separate them as a separate building, and then you just move them out a little bit, and it just adds a bit of texture to a very blank wall. So that's what I've done there. So this is what I was talking about with the roof. So I changed the pieces from these sort of brick pieces and I've used these toppers. So this is the concrete pillar cap. This is the same piece that I used on the pillars over here on the supermarket here. And if you just put them all together in a line, they make sort of one long piece. And at first I just made them stop there, and I didn't bring them around this edge. And it stayed like that for a while, and then in the end I just kept looking at it thinking that just doesn't look finished, it just doesn't look right. So in the end they do actually get manipulated around this corner as well, so you'll see that soon. The roof itself is simple, just flat pieces of concrete, obviously done in several different roof building pieces, because it was just really tricky trying to see here. I've had to use like these random corner pieces to fill in the little gaps at each side there. So there's sort of 6 different buildings actually making up that roof, just because it's such an awkward shape. But that's fine. It's it is what it is. It took a lot of work to manipulate it all into place, but that's fine. The back side of, you can see here, is exactly the same style. And I wanted it to look fairly generic, because most of these office buildings do. They're built to very basic plans. It's just repetitive patterns. So I do some decorating. Don't worry, it doesn't stay looking completely plain like that. I do some extra pieces, especially on the ground floor. You see, a lot of these offices, the ground layer of windows here would have more detailing on than the higher up ones. So that is something that I look at a bit later on. And obviously this end piece is where I wanted the door to be, so we do a main doorway here. I do also put in an emergency exit, because all buildings these days have to have at least 2 entry or exit doors. So I think I do a door on this back wall here. It may be on the side, I honestly can't remember, but I'm pretty sure I do. I'm pretty sure I put a door in somewhere back there as well. But also I do quite a big grand entranceway here as well. But yeah, you can see it coming together at least, and again I've tried to keep it in scale with the rest, so I think that looks a decent size compared to the other ones. It's hard because we haven't got sort of fake people that I can put down. Obviously there aren't pathways under all of this, so I can't even plot people in just to see what they look like scale wise. So you just have to sort of plan according to the sizes of the doors and the windows and stuff like that. So I think it looks a pretty decent size. Probably could have been taller for 3 stories when you consider that this is only 1 story, and actually that's almost the height there of the 2 stories here. But then there's very different types of buildings, so I think I can get away with it. Because on office buildings like this, they would try and cram in as many offices as possible, because they make more money out of the same floor space. And obviously that's why buildings build upwards, because it means they can make more money from renting out their space. So there we go. So yes, so they would be fairly cramped. So there we go. The reason this is at the end here is because I did consider having something on the corners, because you can see here the way that the walls work, you do end up with a kind of a lump on the end here, which I couldn't really avoid. I'll be honest, I don't remember what I do on these corners. I can't remember if I leave them like they are or if I do change them a bit, because actually looking at it I thought it doesn't look so bad. It looks like it belongs there actually. From this angle it looks like that's meant to stick out, because it's in line with the roof here, and it actually makes it look like a sort of a sturdy piece of the corner of the building. But then when you look at it from this angle, it does look like I've just not put the wall in the right place, and it just sticks out over the end of this one. So yeah, I can't actually remember what I end up doing. Had the same problem on this side as well, but yeah, I can't remember. We'll see. It'll be an adventure for both of us trying to find out what I end up doing. So let's load up the next save point and see what I did next. So this is my first attempt at trying to get some kind of a doorway on the end here. Now what I've done, this is obviously just a simple door with, it's a classic door, so it's already got the frame built in, and then it's just duplicated basically. So I've got a sideways door there, and then another sideways door on this end here. If I can select it, there we go. And then I think it's actually duplicated, is it duplicated backwards as well? I can't remember. No, I don't think it is at the moment. Yeah, so it was pretty straightforward, that piece. That does change because of what I end up doing to the rest of it. Now these pieces here, I love these pieces. These are these lovely sort of metal, big round metal pieces. You can see how big they are, and I really wanted to use them here, and it took me ages to manipulate them in the right way so they actually just about fitted into this area. But I left them for a while and I just kept looking at them, and I don't know why, there was just something about them, they just weren't quite doing it for me. I don't know. Now that it's funny, now that I'm looking at it, I like it more now than I did the first time I built it. Actually, I think they look okay, but actually they don't stay. They do end up changing. I just there was something bugging me about them. They just didn't quite work for what I wanted. And in fact, what I end up doing is better. So I am pleased that I changed my mind. You'll see here as well, I've actually duplicated this ring again. Outwards here. It's not quite in the right place actually. I left a bit of a gap, so that gets moved back. But yeah, so I wanted this to be a bit thicker just because of how far out the door came here. But I wanted this door to stick out. I wanted it to be out here somewhere, and it kind of has to be because of the curve of this wall here. You have to bring the door right out because of this door. Let me show you. If the door moves back too much, actually it could sink quite a way, couldn't it? Yeah. Obviously that ends up happening. So yeah, I wanted the door to be, I didn't want it out here anywhere. I wanted it to be sort of out here somewhere. So yeah, so that was my first attempt. So that changes because I didn't like it. Basically, it wasn't quite working for me. So, but I wanted to show you anyway. It was actually slightly off center as well. You can see when I move that back, you can see the wall comes in at the side here rather than dead in the middle. So actually the door is completely off center from where I needed it to be anyway. So the whole thing just wasn't quite right. It just didn't look right. You can see from this angle, the door just doesn't quite sit at the right angle, does it? It was bugging me. It was really bugging me. And this bit of roof, like I said, hadn't been finished. So there was a lot of things that were annoying me as I was building it. So I had to make some fairly simple changes, but they were quite effective. So I'll load up my next point and see what else I did. I can't remember what I did next. Let's find out. Here we go. We are starting to look more like a proper building. Look at that. I love that. That change is quite drastic, isn't it? It's quite a lot has happened. So what have I done? The door has been remanipulated to make it look a bit more central and flat. So hopefully now, let's have a look. If I move this backwards, does it come out? Yeah, see, so the white appears pretty much in the middle now. So it's a lot more central than it was before. And then coming up the wall here, these brick pieces were good, but they just lacked something. Because they were so far out from the wall, they just looked a bit too big. And so what I've done is just create some more of them. So you have these extra rings behind it now. There's a kind of an extra layer on all of these. And I think that looks really, really nice now. Especially because I managed to put these windows in the white areas. And so I just made sure that the stone rings reach the top and the bottoms of the windows, so they act like frames for the windows, and I think that looks really nice. Actually, I was very pleased when I did that. Around the top here, like I said before, I just manipulated these pieces out and around this curve, and again it just really finishes off that roof. Makes it look like it's meant to be there, and it's it's finished and complete, and yeah, it looks much nicer. And then I had the issue of what I wanted to do down here. So I got rid of the lovely big curved metal pieces because they just weren't quite working for me. And I thought it'd be nice, as this is the main entrance to the building, would be to have a couple little flower beds down here. So that's what I've done. So this is just a very simple bit of wall and some earth put in here. So as you're approaching it from over here, obviously there's going to be a couple of trees and some bushes or something in those flower beds. And yeah, I thought that would be a really nice sort of welcoming view into this area here, into the office building itself. And then, like I said, I just did a bit more detailing on this ground floor. So what I've done is I liked the brick. I liked the look of this brickwork here, and so I've continued the brick theme along just the ground floor, just to make the ground floor look particularly different to the upstairs floors. So I've just put on these lovely brick frames. Let's see if I can actually just show you which pieces I've used. So this is just the brick wall arch, and then down here you have this this trim that I've just turned so that it's angled in the right way, and that just goes all the way along the floor. And then this, again, this is a what is this? New World Shop canopy. There we go. So that's just got sunken into the wall there, and it's perfect because it matches obviously the wood effect on the canopy there, matches the wood effect that I've used on the walls. And it sort of blends it all together and looks really nice, I think. So that theme is continued then all the way around the back and around this side here. And like I did say before, I put in an emergency exit door at the back here. So I just took out the whole window, put the door and a light, and built a little step here as well. So that is your emergency exit onto this pathway that I've also built around the back and the side here. So there we go. So it's looking a lot more like a proper office building now, isn't it? And yeah, I really like it actually so far. And I do just do a little bit more. I can't remember how many more cuts I'm going to have. Possibly one, possibly two. We'll find out. But yeah, so there's a little bit of foliage to go in here, and then I'll just do one or two more little details around it as well. So let me continue. Let's load up the next one and see what else I did. And here we are with our final office building, and I'm really pleased with how this one turned out. So what have I done? I've given it a number. Not every building is going to have a number or a name or anything like that. I suppose logically they'll have a number, but not necessarily a name. So this one's got a number, so it's a nice simple sign. Number 47. For any of you people out there that watch a lot of film and TV, you'll know that the number 47 just it's sort of an in-joke in the film community. Loads of TV shows and films use the number 47. Whenever they need a character to just use a random number for something, it'll be 47. I'm not sure what the origin of that is, but you'll know it. And now that I've mentioned it to you, you'll hear it a lot more because you'll be aware of it. But honestly, next time you watch movies and TV shows, listen out for the number 47. It's used a lot, so that is why I've used number 47 in here. You see I've put a couple of little beech trees into our flower beds here, so a beech sapling, and then just a couple of little bushes as well, a little crowberry bush, we've got a diamond leaf willow bush and a wattle bush, and then over on this side, I can't remember what these ones are, let's have a look, crimson turkey bush, we have a bearberry bush, another bearberry, and a little fern there as well. So really simple, just enough so they look used, but they're low maintenance and they're welcoming. I mean, having these two little trees on the side here, I think that looks like a very welcoming office building, especially with these rings of the stone on the end. I think they look really nice. I'm very pleased with how that all turned out there. So detailing around the sides, I managed to fit a little bin down the side here, and then I've done drains, so my usual, so you've got this sort of the square drains and then the long ones running all the way down there and then all the way along the back and down this side as well, and down here. I was very pleased with how this turned out. A little bike rack for the office users to park their bikes in. So this is made with rods, I think these pieces are painted metal rods, thin curve. So yeah, so it's just a load of these rod pieces put together, and then I've just coloured them and put in a few bikes as well. So the bikes they come in two pieces. So just to try and keep it varied, you just turn the wheel slightly there. This one's obviously turned round and the wheel's at a bit more of an angle, and then this one you got the wheel turning the other way. You lean them over. It's hard because there's only one type of bike, so you can colour them and you can sort of make them lean at different angles, and you can turn the wheel a little bit to make them all look a bit different, but it's quite hard. But I think I've done an okay job there of making them all look a little bit individual. And that's basically it. Actually, out on the street you'll see this is quite a drastic thing that I've done. So this lighting I think might have been here before, but I've obviously added some colourful flower baskets halfway up the lampposts. So again, this is something that happens a lot in England. For those of you from the UK, you'll know all about this, but for anyone who isn't in England, We love flowers in this country. We are quite obsessed with our gardens, and rightly so. I'm a gardener myself, so I'm a big fan. But yes, so town centres in particular, certainly in most of the bigger towns and the nicer towns that have got the money, we will decorate the town centres with big flower pots and things. So this is a very common sight in England in certain towns. You get it at the extremes. You get it in the big towns, but you also get it in little villages as well. We actually hold competitions every year in this country where villages can compete to be the most beautiful village in the country, and they get awards and money prizes and stuff like that. So this is something that you do see quite a lot, and I thought I would experiment a bit with it in here. And it does change actually later on. I think while I was doing one of the next episodes, I do come back and I change this because I thought it was just maybe a little bit too over the top. So I think I might remove every other one and just have a fewer of them in here. In fact, I think I removed the lights themselves. I think I decided that there were too many lampposts. So if I zoom out, you can see these lampposts. I think in the end I decided they're too close together, and so I actually removed every other one from the whole town because they just looked a bit too often, too regular. So yes, every other one does get removed, and that includes the ones here with the flower pots on. But for now, I think it's a good idea actually. I do like the flower pot, so it's just a flower pot with 2 flowers in it, and then I've just copied them over and then just turn them around so each one is just facing a slightly different direction. And obviously just the same on this side as well. But it creates a nice sort of avenue, doesn't it, I think. I might do some more stuff like that around the town as well. Something else that we do where you have sort of gaps like this, you'd often find big flower pots just randomly put on the pavements as well. So where we have larger gaps on pavements, I might end up putting in some big flower displays as well. But an area like this I wanted to keep clear because you've got the entrance there and the entrance there, so they probably wouldn't put anything in this area here. But yeah, there we go. That is our office building number 47, and I'm very pleased with it. I think it's turned out rather good actually, even if I do say so myself. Obviously this end is the highlight. This is sort of the more detailed end, whereas the rest of it is a little bit more generic. But that's fine. I don't mind that. That is what office buildings look like. So not everything needs to be hyper detailed. I did also resist the urge to put lots of decal all over this, the little sort of splintered bits of limestone and stuff like that, because in my mind this was a brand new building. It looks brand new, it looks very modern, doesn't it? So I don't think it's got any damage on it just yet. Right, there we go. So that is going to be it for this episode. We have our new office building. If you watched the last episode, you'll know what's coming in the next one because I accidentally spoiled it for you. The next episode will be over here, and it will be a small local park with a pond, which goes along here behind the county hall. So yeah, so that will be our next episode. But for now, let's leave it there. So thank you very much for spending a bit of time with me. I do hope you're enjoying this series. If you have, I would greatly appreciate it if you could hit the like button. I'm not a big fan of it myself, and obviously if you don't want to do it, don't do it. It's not a problem. But if you do it, just helps the algorithms to get my videos out to more people, and the more people we have, the better community we have, more communication, more fun, more sharing of ideas. This is why we're doing this. It's certainly why I'm doing this. And so yeah, any feedback that you want to leave me as well would be greatly appreciated, whether it's good or bad. But I just hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you continue to enjoy it. So join me again in the next episode or over on one of my other series. And until then, take care of yourselves, and hopefully I will see you soon. Bye for now.